Flying car makes successful test run between airports in Slovakia. Cheers to the future. Flying car takes successful intercity test run and netizens are thrilled. Flying cars have often fascinated many of us but somehow seems far from reality. What will flying cars actually be like? Flying cars have been a dream of lot of people for a long time. In fact, people have been building flying cars from the start of the century. Henry Ford attempted to do this in 1926 with the Ford Flyer, which is basically a small plane but intended for the average man. The Flyer's dream was cut short, however, when it crashed on a test flight and killed the pilot. This was shortly followed by the Ford Stout Sky Car in the early 1930s, but due to that, during the Great Depression and people had more pressing issues than flying cars, various of the people attempted to make a breakthrough over the subsequent decades, but nobody managed to produce anything that got past the prototype stage. Today in Secretry, we will be looking at the successful test run of the flying cars that happened recently. The dream started only to gain momentum in 2011 when a company called TerraFugia released the Transition. The Transition was the world's first roadable aircraft, meaning it could take off and land on a normal road without the need for an airport runway. At this stage, the flying car was fueled in the same way as most regular cars with petroleum-based fuel. The Transition looks and acts like a small plane, but since then, emphasis has since changed and most of the big companies working on the technology today are creating vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. And the good news for the entertainment is that they are mostly electric. These vertical takeoff and landing vehicles look more like a small light helicopters rather than planes, and as technology rapidly advances, companies like Uber has set the ambitious goal for 2023 for when its service first will be commercially available. Aircar, a dual-mode car aircraft vehicle that can fly and drive on the road, has just completed its first ever intercity ride in Slovakia. The flight took off from Nitra Airport and successfully landed at Bratislava Airport on June 28, 2021 at 6:05 am. The distance between the airports is about 90 kilometers and it took around 35 minutes for the flying car to complete the flight. This was the 142nd successful landing of the aircar. It's the key development milestone that has moved a step closer towards its production. Aircar is a patent-protected project for the Slovakia-based company Klein Vision. The vehicle was driven and tested by its CEO and CTO, Professor Stefan Klein, and co-founder Anton Zizak. Aircar Prototype 1 was powered by 160 HP BMW engine with a fixed propeller. There is also a ballistic parachute for the emergencies. This flying hybrid car has undergone 40 hours of test flight, including various parameters like steep 45-degree turns and more under the supervision of Civil Aviation Authority. In addition, the Aircar Prototype 1 can fly at 8,200 feet and attain a maximum speed of 180 km per hour. Aircar Prototype 1 was powered by a 160 HP BMW engine with a fixed propeller. There is also a ballistic parachute for emergencies. This flying hybrid car has undergone 40 hours of test flight, including various parameters like steep 45 degrees turn and more under the supervision of Civil Aviation Authority. In addition, the Aircar Prototype 1 can fly at 8,200 feet and attain a maximum speed of 190 km per hour. Furthermore, there will be an Aircar Prototype 2 which will be the pre-production model. It will have a more powerful 300 HP engine. Besides, it will have a EASA CS23 aircraft certification with an M1 road permit. Aircar Prototype 2 will be capable of achieving a cruising speed of 300 km per hour and a range of 1000 km. The most interesting part is that the aircar can transform itself into a sports car from a mini aircar in just 3 minutes, and that too at a click of a button only. After completing the flight, Professor Klein said, "This flight starts a new era of dual transportation vehicles as it opens up a whole new category." On the other hand, the co-founder of Klein Vision, Mr. Anton Zizak said, "Aircar is no longer just a proof of concept. Flying Flying it at 8,200 feet at a speed of 100 kilometers, it has turned science fiction into reality. Advantages. For the rest of the article, when I talk about flying cars, I mean vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, also known as VTOLs. But what are the potential advantages of this new technology? When I'm saying traffic pollution, minimizing traffic pollution, with traffic being less of a problem, which means fuel is being used more efficiently and it's not wasted idling in the traffic neither. As flying cars are phased in, the vehicles that remain on the land will hopefully have to compete with less traffic too, lower emissions over certain distances. The researchers assume that because flying cars must be piloted, they are more likely to be fully occupied with the people sharing lifts rather than a just single person occupying the car, as is currently the case a lot of the time. They found that in certain situations, the flying cars reduced emissions quite dramatically. For a trip of 100 kilometers, a fully charged VTOL with 4 people inside had 52% lower greenhouse gas emissions than the average ground-based gasoline-powered vehicle. They can travel shorter distances to make the same journey. Flying cars can take a much more direct route from the point A to B. This means less fuel is required and the journey times are much more quicker when compared to the journey on land. Frees up the city roads for pedestrians and cyclists. Providing the manufacturers of these electric flying cars can make them effective around the cities in the future, it will free up the roads for pedestrians and cyclists. Less need for on-the-ground infrastructure. Today, most cities are designed and built upon cars and other more ground-based vehicles. When they expand outwards into the country, more roads are constructed. These roads often have negative impacts for the environment as they cross wheels and cross through woodlands, destroying vital habitats for wildlife. If electric flying cars don't require this infrastructure on the ground, then the need for these destructive constructions was reduced. After the electronic vehicles and autonomous vehicles, the next most exciting innovation in automotive industry is hopefully going to be flying cars. In the past couple of years, we have seen many capable minds working hard to bring flying cars into the market. One recent example of such technology is A-Speeder Lauda MK4. However, it's purposefully built as a racing flying car, a racing electric flying car. The important part is that all these cars are near production-ready vehicles. However, it goes without saying that interested customers have to undergo pilot training to fly these cars. Anyway, what do you guys think? How long could it take for this interesting flying cars to reach the general public? Write down your views in the comment box below and like, share and subscribe to our channel. We'll come up with more interesting topics. Till then, stay tuned.